still alive, are you?
Tiger Jaw activated. Greetings, Grand Rising. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I am your one and only host, the Cosmic Jedi, the Cosmic Galactic Ranger, warrior, lover of all things beautiful, gorgeous, sexy, awesome. I hope you are all well. I pray you're all doing well, balanced and harmonious, enjoying this sun wherever you are, on the planet, on the globe, in the galaxy, in the universe, in the cosmos. Today is my spoiler review of the Thor Love and Thunder movie. Let the spoiler review begin. Now let me start by saying I am not the target audience for this movie. Now with that out of the way, we shall begin. This is round one. Fight! And we will discuss the problems I have with Gorr and the Necro Sword. Now, some of you might say it was my expectations that let me down. That's the excuse people will use. You went in there with high expectations, you expected stuff through watching theory videos and trailer breakdowns, so it's your expectation. That's why the movie didn't work for you. The movie is awesome, you suck. What? When someone expresses an opinion about certain things they don't like about a movie, then you jump on their backs and their necks and say, you know, you're not an official critic and yada yada yada. Anyway, I don't want to stop moaning about that bullshit. This movie's whack. Damn! I did say I'm not the target audience, doesn't mean I can't call it whack, but it's definitely made for children. Jesus! That's for sure. You didn't have to make Thor dumb to make this movie for children. There's this running theme that when things are made for children, you're supposed to make it as silly as possible or dumb it down and talk slow to children because it's seen as funny. You can make intelligent shows for children, intelligent movies for children. You can make a children's movie but have it be an intelligent children's movie. Don't put dumb things in it. Smart things can be funny as well. Not all these funny like fart jokes and stupid giggles. Anyway, the Gorr thing, I feel it'd be nice to explore more who created the Necro Sword. One, I don't care whether it comes from the comic books or not or whatever. I don't care. I honestly don't care because we're going by what is being shown to us on screen. So some of us don't read the comic books. And even though Kevin Feige and whoever is in charge of all this whatever are pulling from comic books, there's still a thing they have to do to make sure the general audience can go to the movie, watch it, make sense, understand, and then get out. We shouldn't, as moviegoers who are going to watch a Marvel movie, we shouldn't have to be made to read a comic book or read the comic book series that the movie is pulling from before we can understand the movie. We are here to watch your story. We're here to enjoy your story. That's like telling someone if you're going to come to a restaurant, before you come to a restaurant, you should go to the spice market to go and taste the spices we're going to put in this meal that you're going to eat in the restaurant. It's a spice market down the road. Go and buy each of the particular spices and just taste it in your tongue so you get a sense of what you're going to enjoy in this restaurant when you come to eat the meal. It's stupid. We're here to watch your movie. We're here to enjoy your movie. We're here to enjoy your story that you're telling us. So if you throw characters in, new characters, new weapons, new tools, new stories, and we don't know what they're about, and then you don't tell us. Some people would argue, oh, it's left to the imagination, or it's left open-ended, so that way people can look forward to the next thing, or it's something new for the next phase of movies. Bullshit. That scene with the beginning where Gorr comes in contact with one of his deities, or if it's the main deity, and that sword, that whole scene already set the tone for how shit and how stupid it's going to be. I'm going to start by saying, in terms of a character who doesn't like the gods, hates the gods, and has gone through pain and anguish, and has prayed to the gods and has been ignored by the gods, there's no other story that I know of so far aside from Kratos from a video game called God of War, for those who don't know, and Hyperion from a movie called The Immortals with Henry Cavill. Spoilers, by the way, for both. If you're a gamer and you haven't played God of War, I'm about to spoil it. And if you haven't seen the movie The Immortals with Henry Cavill, I'm going to spoil that as well. Kratos is the best story to date. I have not read any books similar to that story, but that story is very believable. You side with the character, you sympathize with him, you empathize with him, you understand what he's gone through. You can understand his rage, his anger, and disdain for the gods. Perfect storytelling, perfect. They could have gone with that trope or that similar style and maybe spice it up a bit. Taika Waititi could have gone with that model to allow us to side with Gorr's character more and to understand his plight. his origin story to be angry at the gods is very, very weak. For me, I feel it's very, very weak. Even Hyperion was basic. He asked the gods to restore his children and his family's health because they were sick. He got ignored. He got pissed off and said, all right, I'm going to find a way to kill the gods. And based on the stories that were told to them in their mythology about the Titans, all he had to do was put 2 and 2 together. Those guys are still alive. They're caged up. I'm going to free them and then let them just bleed out the whole gods. He's in pain. He's not thinking logically per se. I don't want to say he's stupid, but because his decisions are being led by the anger and pain he's feeling. That's the low point he's at right now. After all the prayers, the pleading, the sacrifices, and whatever he's done, the gods didn't hear him. Simple resolution. You know what? Fuck it. I'll do it myself. With some form of clarity, because he's methodically thought, you know what, I'm going to unleash this guy. So that's you taking time to think that. But with this one, Gorr is a disciple of their version of their sun god. He's just lost his daughter. He's laying on the floor after burying her. And then out of nowhere, this oasis appears. There's a voice calling him. Or voices are whispering, calling him to come into this oasis. How the oasis appeared there, I don't understand. Because the shot that they showed us, from what I remember, it looked like it was a desolate area. No greenery, all sand, like a desert. And then this greenery appears out of nowhere. He crawls in there, and based on how the scene is shot, he's hungry, he's thirsty. It's like he's never seen water in a long time. Even the way he lunges to the fruit, you can see he's hungry. And then this, I can't remember the name of the god of their culture, is sat there feasting whilst having a conversation with other creatures of the wild, I guess. That whole scene for me looked very, very weird because first of all, he just lost his daughter and he's hungry. Fine. His hand presses upon the necro sword. It cuts him, then it heals. I didn't understand that. I thought this thing was supposed to deplete the wielder's power or the wielder's essence. Or I guess it gives them temporary immortality until they die. He has a conversation with the god saying, your people have been begging you to show up. Are you feasting because this is the reward we're getting for our suffering? Which is like a weird allegory for religion or maybe Christianity, because I don't want to blanket statement the whole thing. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just me projecting. Maybe it's not an allegory for Christianity. But he's having a conversation with the god, and you can tell off the bat, this god character is written to be an arrogant cunt. Fine. One arrogant cunt god, that's cool. Because even with the story of Kratos in God of War, all the gods are not depicted like arrogant cunts. There were partial gods who understood the plight that Kratos was going through. And even the Titans as well had their own reasons for disliking the gods. But at least not all the gods were depicted as cunts. That's good and wise storytelling. You want balance. Now, for me to side with Gorr's character, I don't need to see him angry, develop an anger for all the gods, or hatred for all the gods across the cosmos because of one experience he had with this dickhead cunt god. He denounces this god he's talking to because he's telling him, yo, my dude, we've been waiting for you, you haven't showed up, and out of nowhere you're here. Even I'm surprised. I'm like, so on this one particular day his daughter dies is the exact coincidental day that this sun god is fighting this person who wields the necro sword. I'm more intrigued about the necro sword and the character that wielded it. I couldn't care less about the god, couldn't care less about Gorr. I wonder who made this sword and why does it talk? The fact that they made it a coincidence that the wielder who just got killed by the sun god could harness a sword. It also chose Gorr. That's just too much for me, man. Too much for me. The god then tells Gorr, I'm feasting. I just killed this person who was holding the necro sword. That is the god killing. Why would you do that? And even if you're to argue that it just shows the arrogance of this god that he can tell a lesser being that, yeah, this creature I just killed was holding a sword that can kill all the gods. It's the strangest thing because in his mind, he knows the necro sword only chooses particular people. That doesn't make any sense. Because you who know the lore of this sword, and then if you know this sword is so dangerous, again, we're supposed to be understanding that, oh, it's such a hubris god that he can sit down and let the sword lay on the floor. I'm surprised the sword didn't even corrupt the land itself. It only corrupts the wielder. It didn't corrupt the land, but it moved of its own free will when it created the shadows. There's so much inconsistencies just right from the start. We don't even get any backstory to let us know who created the sword, the purpose of the sword, and why it wants to go to eternity. So now, after denouncing this sun god, and because he's written as a prick, he then gets upset. And I guess your whole purpose now is to be sacrificed to me. Then he grabs Gorr and he's choking him out, and I'm thinking to myself, this is not how you start the movie, by letting us know how this guy becomes Gorr the god butcher. It doesn't, because if you're a god choking out your own creation, it should be easy. It should be easy. Now, that scene where he gets cut by the sword, I imagine some people would argue, after that scene, the sword already imbued Gorr with immortality, temporarily of course. But the god doesn't even voice out that he's surprisingly strong and taking longer to die. There's nothing wrong in writing that dialogue. Stronger than I assumed you were, frail creature. Simple. And then you could say, because of that cut in his arm, that's why he's still surviving this chokeout. I don't even know how long I can go about this, because I'm going to be nitpicking this film. So for anyone who wants to hear a very short review, wrong YouTube video, I'm going to be nitpicking the fuck out of this pathetic movie.
Bullshit.
Massive nitpicking. The sword slides from the ground into its own shadow and then raises from the shadow again into Gorr's hand. And as all this is going on, because this god he's almost like 7 foot tall, 8 foot tall, I think. He's choking Gorr out, and I don't think can't remember if he's fully standing up. Gorr is being choked. And I don't know how this guy couldn't see the sword rising from the shadow into Gorr's hand. And he gets impaled in the neck with this sword. It looks like he was wearing a visor or something that was covering underneath his eyes, or an armor or a helmet that was blocking his peripheral vision or his sight beneath. If we're the same height and same size, you can argue that. But this god is bigger than Gorr. So I'm confused as to how he couldn't see Gorr pick up this sword. In fact, this would have been a very good first fight to see how powerful this sword is. And then to see if the wielder gets strong or stronger after wielding the sword. So let's say someone is just a regular farmer or herbalist or healer, and they've never fought in their life. If the sword picks the person, male or female, do they become skilled in combat? Or is it just to swing the sword and that's it? Even if they had said the sword, no matter who it picks, will download all the knowledge and skills and abilities it's drained from its previous wielders into the mind of the current wielder. Oh, that would have been a different story entirely. Then the intrigue of whoever created the fucking sword becomes high or higher. So you are telling me this guy who just lost his daughter, he didn't even have a conversation with this guy. Standard, bring my daughter back. He didn't even say, okay, take my life, let's go. Wouldn't logic dictate that, okay, since you just lost your daughter, you want her back, but she's gone? Wouldn't it be wise to say, okay, if he's going to kill me, at least I know I'm going to meet my family on the other side. It's not like the sword corrupts him. It shows him the vision, but surely the drive to want to see your daughter and your family on the other side should be stronger than this sword's intention. Because this sword has got nothing to do with you. Your plight is with the god who didn't answer your prayer and your people's prayers when you're praying to him. But now he's in front of you. He's offering you release from this existence of which you're angry at. You're tired. You're alone. You have no family anymore. Surely this should be the sweetest way to meet your family. So then why grab the sword after listening to it? I thought there was a dedication to his religion or way of life. Like, you know what? Even though I've lost my daughter, there's a bigger reason behind it. The gods will let me know eventually, or maybe not, but I have to accept there's a bigger reason behind it. So hence when he has a dialogue with the god, he didn't even mention it. He did mention he buried his daughter and whatnot, but I would have preferred more of a deeper dialogue. I thought this would have been for a grand plan, for a major reason, blah, blah, blah. Then the anger, then show some rage, like, what? So you mean my daughter died for nothing? Then stand up and, look so pissed off. So minus the scene where he crawls to pick up the fruit, minus all that. Sees him feasting, and it's like, wait, you're here? We've been praying upon you for how many? You're here, you're sat here just eating and talking to this guy. Have you lost? Then the god is like, who the hell you think you're talking to? Back and forth, back and forth. Then the sword starts to whisper to him again. Then he looks confused, like, wait, what? And the god is like, you don't speak to me like that, you peasant. Be your douchebag god if you want to be your douchebag god. If this is the one character Gorr is going to kill based on how he sees the arrogance of the gods, then yeah, fine. Make this character be your first kill, but make it more compelling. I'm gonna leave it here for now, man, because I definitely need to do a shot by shot. That'll be the best way I feel I can express, so you guys can see as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening thus far. Stay tuned for the second episode of my disappointing experience with Thor Love and Thunder. Definitely going to do a visual breakdown because you guys need to see what I'm talking about. I have been your one and only host,
the Cosmic Jedi,
signing out.